You know, Bree castigated me earlier this week for being too cool to care about the royal family.
No, that's not exactly it. It's that there was a lot of like very performative tweeting from the left about how they just didn't care, which was really clearly about how they felt left out because this wasn't something that happened on the internet. This is real people.
This wasn't a meme about Fortnite on TikTok.
That dealt with issues of gender and racism, which are like not always very welcome conversations in certain segments of the left. And, you know, like, I was like, you don't have to care, but the fact that people were signaling so loud about it seemed to me to indicate a little bit of insecurity.
Well, I think some part of that is an aversion to the ancient British aristocracy that should absolutely not exist in this rigid, psychotic class-based society. Which is not to say that we don't also have a rigid psychotic class-based society, but ours
it's like
less serious than it.
What we'll hear in the interview in a second is the Senate shouldn't exist. It doesn't stop us from talking about the shenanigans that happened there. I mean, like, yeah, we all get it. We all hate the monarchy. Now, the story opening at 9, Prince, somebody in the English royal family was concerned about the skin color of Archie, whatever their last name is.
Bunker.
Like, that's spicy. I mean, like, I don't know that we have to tether a critique of the crown to every bit of spicy content that's coming out of an Oprah interview. Like, yes,
I mean that
put that caveat on this conversation.
That very much so was the tea to come out of it, as I understand it from the million posts that people made.
Yeah, I mean, there was that. I think. I mean, I'm not a big royal family follower myself, but I do think that even I understand, having watched The Crown, that there is a certain amount of, interest that secrecy breeds, and the fact that there's so much privacy and there's so much control over the media surrounding the royal family and the English press makes this event more salacious than your average prurient gossip.
Because they're famous for being famous.
No, because they came to America and used the American press in a way that they would never have been able to do in England. Because there's, like, one of the things that came out in the interview is Harry said, there's just a very close relationship between the tabloids and the crown. And they have these events and like mixers where they have this symbiotic relationship. And when you watch The Crown, you see all these stories about how they call and get stories killed all the time in exchange for other little tidbits. Yeah. And that's part of Meghan's frustration, right? She's like, they have a certain amount of control and over the narrative. So I hold them responsible when the narrative is that I'm like ruining England by having married your literal redheaded stepchild.
Is that so? That's what the other royals believe, that it's like you shouldn't have married a black person.
Well, yeah, again, this is all like second, third, fourth hand, but the narrative is that, when Kate Middleton married William, everyone loved her and she was the perfect princess, and she's got that wasp waist and wears clothes beautifully, and she was
merchant's daughter.
Right. Well, that didn't seem to be that much of an issue in the grand scheme of things. And it became even, her value was arguably cynically amplified. The fact that she was, beloved was amplified as a way to contrast her to Meghan, who was older. She's a few years older than Prince Harry. She's American, which they don't have a great history of royals marrying Americans over there.
No, they don't. That turns them fascist, apparently.
Or it just makes them, yes, but like principally the issue wasn't that he was a fascist. The issue was that he just abdicated. And then there's the fact that she's black. There's the fact that her parents are divorced. There's the fact that her father seems to be a somewhat unsavory character. There's the fact that she was a working actress. She was literally one of the suitcase girls on how to be. No deal. Yeah, Deal or No Deal. Sorry. There were, obviously none of those things are actually a problem, but in the world of...
There are, for me, those are all big red flags.
You never date a suitcase girl, Virgil?
Yeah, would not. Yeah, 3 out of 10.
Hearts broken across America for all of the. I mean, is the show still on the air? Is it's like the youngest
Deal or
case
No
girl,
Deal?
42?
Deal or Nude? And do you think Deal or No Deal is still on the air?
I'm asking. I don't know. I don't watch cable.
The
Why
game,
wouldn't it be?
the game that's about averages. No, it's not still on the air.
Why should that be an obvious fact to me?
There are exactly 2 game shows that are on the air that deserve to be on the air, and they've been on the air for decades. And they are Jeopardy and Price is Right.
Wheel of Fortune is on the air.
I know.
The one that Steve Harvey hosts is on the air.
And
Family Feud.
Okay. You're right, but Family Feud has not been continuously on the air.
I mean, I can't attest to the veracity of that statement.
Oh, actually, I don't know. I kind of shot from the hip on that one now.
Yeah,
kind of worried about it.
I know. Audience for you to just be throwing stuff out.
Okay, all right. I know there's been like 7 hosts of Family Feud, and also I have like serious problems with Family Feud, but I do like the format of it. Wheel of Fortune, I have zero respect for. Should never have made it to air. Period.
I don't care for Wheel of Fortune
it's a horrible
either.
Game.
It's the steal for me, and there's a little bit of this on Family Feud, but it's the ability to like do all of the work and then have the other person steal it and make a little mistake.
Yeah, and that is all. I mean, that is also really messed up in Family Feud, and I think that's one of the. Maybe they have that in to heighten the drama of it, but I consider it a design flaw of the game. It makes it less of a game of skill.
I think that mostly it's not an issue because if the original family gets far, you know, they basically like solved all but like 1 or 2 of the questions on the board, and the other family gets a chance to steal, the remaining answers are usually very, very difficult and they don't steal. Like it's dumb stuff. Because, you know, the answers are collected via a survey and sometimes people just say dumb stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be like a 1 person responded out of 100.
Exactly. Or it's something that's super obvious, like the number 1 answer, and then they deserve to have it stolen from them.
That's a good point. I think that's fair. I mean, I still would want to toy with the format of the show, you know, see some options, see how it plays out, do some A/B testing. But generally, all right, fine. I will concede my point. Family Feud, yes, has been on the air for a long time. Maybe continuously, maybe not.
It looks like continuously. No, it had 3 separate runs from 76 to 85, from 88 to 94. No, just 95, and then 99 to... there's a lot of runs. I'm sorry, I can't read this wiki for you right now.
There's a lot. You do not have to. I did not request it. So I think we're still in the Steve Harvey era, or is that past?
We're still in the Steve Harvey era. I have 1,000,001 critiques of Steve Harvey. I think that this is his best milieu.
Not commercials for Green Dot or subprime loans or whatever the hell he pitches.
No, Steve Harvey is perfectly constrained in this family TV format so that any like weird, creepy, bad political instincts that he has can't really come out. He can make just the right amount of like suggestive innuendo when called for to make you chuckle, to make you just like laugh a little bit, clown on the people who make bad guesses just the right amount. And that's all I need from him. Doing
his little bit where he asks a question with sexual innuendo and then acts outraged when somebody responds in a sexual fashion.
Correct.
Okay, but there's no politics in our Family Feud, which is good. It's something I support. You know, I'm part of a movement called Gamer Showgate, and I just want politics out of our game shows. Get the SJW stuff out of Jeopardy.
You know what's funny? Maybe we should also cut this, but I was talking to my friend the other day about Family Feud. I don't know if you do this, Virgil, but I know I'm not the only one who does this. When I see a family on Family Feud, I root for the black family. Like, I just feel like that's what you do. You root for the
you make it into a race war show.
That is why you watch Family Feud. Like, obviously, you root for the black family. And I don't know if you root for the Asian family. I don't know what your life is. I don't know if you feel divided. Obviously, I root for the black family. Okay, so the other day I was watching a clip of it like on my phone. You know, it was like, you know, Instagram Family Feud moments or whatever. And they're close up on a family. It's an African family, and they're dressed in like matching like African print outfits. They're really cute. I'm like, all right, they're doing the thing. They're answering the questions. I'm rooting for them. And then the chance comes for the steal. And when they zoom to the other family for the steal, that family was a Black American family.
Oh, wow.
And I was absolutely torn. I had to become so deeply invested. It ruined my day. It ruined my day.
That's like a real life playing out of the descendant of slaves versus all the other Black people controversy.
It's Steve Harvey's fault for even pitting us against each other like that. I didn't want to participate anymore.
No, but it's okay.
In the consumption of this clip.
It's okay when it's Black people versus Asians. I got it. Well, that's that's the Steve Harvey. That's the real royal family. That's the American royal family.
I was going to say, his daughter is dating Michael B. Jordan, right?
I did not know that. Well, yeah, American royals right there. Just to put a lid on the royal family chat that we've gotten sidetracked from. I mean, it has been really funny to see the deranged defenders of the royal family on both sides of the Atlantic, whether it's the Ben Shapiro type, American rightists who are just kind of saying this for, just to get retweets or whatever. Like, I respect Prince Philip. Like, why? What's wrong with you? But the British people, like the British right wing, which we could do like an entire freaking mini series about the derangement of the British right wing. How much they love the royal family, and there's just some weird, I don't know, it's like libidinal obsession. Like, your country, I mean, because I don't know, I kind of think inherent in that is this recognition that, all right, well, my country's pretty shitty, but this makes me, I get to play pretend that we have a noble lineage.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, obviously there are some parallels to America. I don't want to get too glib. There are people with commemorative plates of various people. Folks had like Kennedy on their walls forever. Obviously, there's a lot of Obama memorabilia that's still floating around. Like, we're not completely, above the idea of this kind of hero worship. This whole episode, we end up talking, a lot about people's feelings of fidelity and commitment to the Democratic Party and being unwilling to critique them. This does feel different, though. And I feel like because I watched The Crown,
you're an expert.
I do, I guess, understand it better than I used to. I mean, for one, I think just the Queen is just so old that she was there for everything. Yeah. Like, every historical moment in your living memory and your parents' living memory is going to have had that literal same woman there weighing in, giving words of comfort, standing on the sidelines, patting away the kids' tears at the sight of the tragedy or whatever occurred. And so I do understand how you could have investment in a person as like kind of a witness to your country's history and to, your personal history by extension.
So an old person.
I mean, but old by anybody's standard. It's not just like old for a head of state. Well, everybody's old in America. The youngest senator is like 82. But I mean, when you're watching The Crown and it's like, first of all, they had to have like 3 or 4 different actresses play the woman because like nobody's range is that long. And it starts in like 1918 or whatever. I mean, it doesn't start in 1918. When was the Queen born?
When was the Queen born? She's like 100. So
okay,
like 2010s, I think. I'm sorry, 1910s, I think. Maybe 1919.
Oh, 1926.
Yeah, because she was like a teenager during the Blitz and stuff like that. Okay, well, you know what? That's not that old. Betty White is older than that. That's
true. Do we feel similarly? Can we not talk about England because we're just the same, but with Betty White?
I mean, I'm not. I think we should abolish Betty White also. Abolish the Golden Girls.
Oh, come on. You're not part of the panic every time Betty White trends on Twitter?
I did.
No, not Betty White. Oh, she just did a funny.
You're just going to make me sound heartless. I want to close it out. I mean, we've given the British perspective. We're given the American perspective. I just want to give the Irish perspective for a second. This is from the Irish Times review of the Oprah interview. This is by a writer named Patrick Frayne. I'm not going to do an Irish accent because I can't do one that's not cartoonish. Okay. Having a monarchy next door is a little like having a neighbor who's really into clowns and has a house dabbed in clown murals, displays clown dolls in each window, and has an insatiable desire to hear about and discuss clown-related news stories. More specifically for the Irish, it's like having a neighbor who's really into clowns. And also, your grandfather was murdered by a clown. Beyond this, it's the stuff of children's stories. Having a queen as head of state is like having a pirate, or a mermaid, or Ewok as head of state. What's the logic? Bees have queens, but the queen bee lays all the eggs in the hive. The Queen of the Britons has just laid 4 British eggs, and one of those is the sweatless creep Prince Andrew, so it's hardly deserving of applause. That's great. I don't think anyone's going to write a better lead this year.
Not sweatless.
Good luck writing the lead for your next MSNBC article, Brie.
Not sweatless.
Yeah, sweatless. Don't you know what that's a reference to?
No.
He was named in one of the Epstein lawsuits where one of his victims, alleged victims, said that he was sweaty. And he responded by going on the news and saying, well, actually, I'm incapable of sweating. So, case closed.
Oh, it's so bad. Okay.
Yeah, but I think, but after that interview, I'm starting to think they're bad.
Well, I am glad that Meghan escaped. I think it's extremely weird that they escaped into the protection of Tyler Perry.
Well, where would you go?
I wouldn't find myself in that situation because much like Britney Spears, I would have turned down the date with Prince Harry.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, she is a savvier judge of character than one might think.
A fun fact that I also didn't know is that Piers Morgan went on a date with Meghan Markle, or they got drinks. I don't know if it was formally.
I think that he thinks that they were.
He thinks it was right. He thinks it was a date, and she was like, "I got drinks with this guy," but they met on Twitter. So there's a
Piers
lesson
Morgan
in that,
or her and Harry.
No, well, Morgan and Markle.
Okay, so there's hope for me yet.
There's hope for you. What's Prince Andrew's at?
All right.